Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service of remembrance at Algonquin College. My name is Jamie Bramberger. I'm the Manager of Community and Student Affairs here at the Waterfront campus. If you do have an electronic device, and I know many of us do these days, I just ask that you please turn it off or keep it on silent for the duration of the Remembrance Day service. Really pleased to have with us today at stage here Jason Guinea, Colonel Jason Guinea, the Commander of Garrison Petawawa, Master Warrant Officer Jimmy Cote, military veteran and current Pembroke campus student Shauna Holland, our campus COCM Crystal Toop, and our campus dean Sarah Hall. All will be participating in this morning's service of remembrance. And we'll start off our ceremony today with our land acknowledgement from our dean Sarah Hall.
Thank you, Jamie. Welcome, everyone. We would like to acknowledge that today's service of remembrance is taking place on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin peoples, traditionally known as the Anishinaabe. The Algonquin peoples have inhabited and cared for these lands long before today. We take this time to show our gratitude and our respect for the Algonquin peoples and to the land for all that it provides us, the trees to give shade, water and food to sustain us, and paths to connect us. As a post-secondary institution, we feel the weight of responsibility to help ensure that the next generations of land stewards are respectful and grateful for the bounty of this land on which we all live, work, play, and study. We will, as an institution, committing to learn how to be better stewards of this land in service to all the people and the animals who walk on it and who grace the skies and the waters. We will commit to engaging with and learning about the history and the culture of the Algonquin peoples. We will foster reconciliation between the college community and the Algonquin peoples as we forge new paths ahead together for the mutual benefit of all those who walk on them. During the Great Wars and during times of peace, many Indigenous soldiers enlisted to serve our country. Earlier this week, it was National Indigenous Veterans Day, marked on November 8th, and that day honored the Indigenous veterans who have served in missions across Canada and around the world in times of war, conflict, and peace. I would like at this time to invite our campus COCM, Crystal Toop, to offer a reflection on Remembrance Day. Crystal?
Bonjour. Nindishnakaz Debajmu Benisi, Saisaiga Banoji, Dodam, Makwa Pequaknagan Omami Winini Aki. My name is Crystal Toop. My traditional name is Story Healing Thunderbird, and I'm a member of the Evening Grosbeak clan. I come from Pequaknagan First Nation, the Black Bear Nation, and I want to welcome you all to our traditional territory, my ancestral territory. Remembrance Day holds immense significance as it serves as a solemn tribute to the courageous men and women who have selflessly served and sacrificed their lives in armed conflict. Its importance lies in fostering a collective memory, educating future generations, and ensuring that the horrors of war are not forgotten. It is critical to comprehend the profound impact of Remembrance Day, not only in honoring the fallen, but also in reflecting upon the broader implications of armed conflict for society. This day compels us to question the nature of warfare, its consequences, and the ongoing responsibility to strive for peace and preserve human life. We are privileged by those who went before us to gather as a community to show respect and reverence for the soldiers who have fought. I am very proud to be the great-granddaughter of George Serzan, a decorated tank gunner who came home after being injured. He survived the Spanish residential school and went on to survive his tour, to come home and begin his family. Without his fortitude and resilience, I would not be here before you today. By actively remembering the sacrifices made by those who came before us, we can forge a more conscientious and empathetic society. Chimigwech.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Crystal. I invite you to now stand and join in the playing and singing of our national anthem, O Canada. Please be seated. College has a deep respect for the armed forces and for the men and women who wear the uniform of Canada's military, past and present. On this Remembrance Day, we take this opportunity to acknowledge the many personal sacrifices that soldiers and their family members have made throughout their military service, and we thank them for everything they have done for our country. We also want to acknowledge that today we have serving members of the military who have joined us. We thank you for your service to the country. The eternal flame that burns at cenotaphs across the country. Today, Garrison Petawawa Commander Colonel Jason Guinea will light a candle to rekindle our memories of those who have fallen and to bring their spirit among us. It is a symbol of the steadfast courage of our soldiers and of our enduring support for them. Today, we remember those military men and women, past and present, who put their own lives in peril to defend our nation and to bring peace and stability to countries in conflict around the world. Colonel Guinea. Thank you, Colonel. Shauna Holland is a student in the Business Fundamentals program here at the Pembroke campus. She served for more than 10 years as a signals operator in the Canadian Armed Forces. I now invite Shauna to lead us into a special video tribute to those who made the eternal sacrifice for our country. Shauna.
During the First World War, Canadian soldier John McCrae, while huddled in a bunker in France, wrote one of the most memorable poems ever written. In Flanders Fields has been a living memorial to the thousands of Canadians who were killed on the battlefield during the First and Second World Wars. Its powerful message continues to resonate with meanings to us today. We would like to share this poem with you now through a musical video presentation.
Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row. Mark our place and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. Now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
We will now lay 5 wreaths in remembrance of those who perished in battle. The first wreath will be laid by 2 of our campus employees, both of whom have partners who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. Sarah Lennon and Mackenzie Mansell are both members of the Campus Student Services team. They are placing their wreath on behalf of college employees who have family members currently serving in the military. The second and third wreaths that will be laid today will be done so by our Pembroke Campus Dean, Sarah Hall, and Colonel Jason Guinea, Commander at Garrison Petawawa. Sarah is a military spouse. They are placing their wreaths on behalf of the Board of Governors of Algonquin College and all of the staff at the Pembroke campus and the military community at Garrison Petawawa. The next wreath will be placed on behalf of our students. Students Association Office Manager Connor Benson is joined by Pembroke Campus Students Association Director Haley Boucher, a student in the Applied Nuclear Science and Radiation Safety program. Our final wreath will be placed by our 2 academic chairs at the Pembroke campus, Angela Rintoul and Bobby Gormley, both of whom are military spouses. They are laying this wreath in remembrance of the soldiers who lost their lives in the Afghanistan conflict. World War I became known as the Great War From 1914 to 1918, over 650,000 Canadian men and women served. 66,000 were killed, 172,000 were wounded. So many casualties when Canada had a very small population. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, November 11th, 1918, a ceasefire was declared, ending the First World War. November 11th became known as Armistice Day, a day to remember those who were killed during the Great War. The Second World War took place from 1939 to 1945. In that 6-year period, more than 1 million Canadians served in the military. More than 45,000 gave their lives. Another 55,000 were wounded. During the Second World War, Canada's population was only 11 million people. The Korean War took place between 1950 and 1953. 26,000 Canadians served, 516 were killed. In recent years, during Canada's military efforts in Afghanistan, our forces suffered 158 deaths. Many of the soldiers who were killed and injured served at Garrison Petawawa. We think of all of the fallen soldiers as we lead into the last post in a moment of silence. In your programs that were on your chairs when you came in, at the bottom section on one of those pages, there is a participative reading. And I ask you to join me in that. I will say the first section, and then you will join us, and then we will move into the playing of the last post. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. Join me. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Please stand. Please be seated. Just get you to refer to your program one more time on the other side under God Save the King. During World War I and World War II, Canadians were fighting to protect the Commonwealth. At that time, Canada was still very much a British colony. I invite you to read with me the words to God Save the King, which are found in your bulletin. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy, and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. As we close out our Remembrance Day service, I just want to invite Colonel Guinea just to the podium for a few remarks. Colonel Guinea.
Ms. Hall, Mr. Bramberger, staff, students of Algonquin College, and fellow veterans. It's an honor to be able to join you here today, and I thank you immensely for taking the time out of your schedules, out of your studies, to come and reflect. And I'd just like to offer a few words as a serving member and as a veteran. Remembrance Day is a very emotional time for me personally and for a lot of those who I serve with. And I'd just like to offer a few words of my own reflection, is that there's no right or wrong way to celebrate Remembrance Day. There's no right or wrong way to wear a poppy. And in fact, if you don't want to wear a poppy because that's your belief, then that's okay too. And as a veteran of war, I actually think when I see people who choose to not wear a poppy, I think, well, that's great that we live in a country where we can express ourselves and our opinions without fear of persecution. And to me, I love hearing that debate, because the fact that we can have that open debate is a remarkable sign of the country that we live in. And I congratulate all of you in this room and your families and your friends and those who are not here, because you have all won the lottery, because you live in this great nation. After this ceremony, you'll probably drive home or catch a ride with someone in a car, drive on a paved road, maybe go out for lunch, go home, turn on your tap where you have clean drinking water, and you can go to sleep knowing that you will be free from the violence and fear of conflict. And regrettably, we are one of the very few countries on this planet that has that privilege. And that doesn't mean that Canada is perfect. Far from it. We have our own checkered past, which we're struggling to reconcile. How we've treated our own people in this country, how we've treated our First Nations, how we've treated those from other racial demographics that are not necessarily like our own. But what it is a reminder for all of us to be kind to each other, to be kind to one another, and a reminder to do better. Dignity, equality, and respect are the fundamental principles of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is what many Canadian men and women and service persons died fighting for or suffered the horrible consequences for. I recall I've spent many Remembrance Days overseas, but I think one of the most memorable ones when I was in Afghanistan in 2008, we made a valiant attempt to have a dignified Remembrance Day ceremony. We had a small cenotaph built, we had a parade planned, and about 3 minutes into the ceremony, we were all called back into the command post because we had rockets incoming into the airfield. And the moment of silence was shattered by the launching of 2 F-16 fighter jets that were deployed to go and fight the enemy. So it's just a reminder that war doesn't stop. Regrettably, war is an inseparable part of human nature, a reality that we all must deal with. But whether you choose to serve your country in uniform, downrange at war, or whether you choose to serve your country as a mechanic or as a lawyer or as a barista or any of other those trades, all of us serve our country and our community in different ways, and no one path is more important than the others. And so I thank you very much for Algonquin College for hosting this event in remembrance, and your presence here today is meaningful. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Colonel Guinea, for those words. This is the first time that we've ever had a sitting colonel from Garrison Petawawa be part of our Remembrance Day service, so it means a lot to us too, sir. I also want to thank our piper today, also a first. We've never had a piper because usually we are holding this ceremony on November 11th, but because it falls on a weekend and today is November 10th, we were able to have a piper join us, and so thank you to Bombardier Derek Haynes. I invite our students and our staff to thank the members of the military who are with us today as we close out our Remembrance Day of service. A handshake and a thank you goes a long way. So please, if you see someone in uniform today, say thank you for their commitment to our country and to people around the world. This concludes our Remembrance Day service. On this day of remembrance, we remember them and their comrades who did not return. We remember them. Thank you.